Hey there guys, and thanks for joining me today as we are taking another look at Homebrew. I am currently flying this little craft here, and I'm going to explain to you a bit more in depth what all the cool things are that you can do in this game, because you've seen the previous video maybe. I did a video on the demo and I was quite intrigued by the game, but I didn't think about it too much. Now, I got the full game because I wanted to have a bit of a better, closer look at it. And I'm hooked, I'm addicted, and I'm going to tell you why. And yeah, I think that you will find this to be a cooler game than perhaps I put it off as initially. Let's take a look at where this all starts. You see the little dome there, where I'm just flying around. I'm going to put this plane down, one way or another. Oh, like I said, one way or another. We're going to go inside, and we'll start over there. Welcome to our home. This is a very cool little dome with a garage inside, a parts shop, and our friendly friend Danny over here. And this little area is where you can do building, you can construct, etc. But you can also start the constructor anywhere from inside of the world by pressing the I button. Now, what I want to do, last time when I viewed Homebrew and I took a look at it with you, I was a bit confused at how all the building worked. Now, what I've done, I'm going to line up a couple of cool craft that I'm going to show you and show you why it is so incredibly cool. But first, I'm going to show you the editor. I'm just going to make a new vehicle and show you how exactly everything works, because it is so cool. And yeah, I want to show you how it works. There's a couple of different design phases that you have to go through. You've got the pipe builder, the frame builder, the vehicle builder, and then the tuning area. Now, this game is not like a normal voxel-based, block-based engine. Instead, it's yeah, it works with frames. You can design your own frames like this. And these frames can be saved and constructed together. I'll show you that right in this frame builder mode. You can go in here and spawn some of the frames that you've previously designed. You can click them on a face, and you can tell them where to snap into place. See that? And this is how you end up building a frame. Now, when you build a frame, you can load that into the world like that. So this is one of the frames that you can maybe build, and you can put this in place by clicking on one of these faces again, clicking on the starter block there, and there you have the little face, and that you can use to build, for example. And then you can go and yeah, put stuff on top like a seat. Spawn that into the game as well. Click on one of the little blocks, the connection blocks, and we snap it into place. There's a whole lot more blocks in this full version rather than the demo, of course. There's a lot more engines, batteries, there's weapons, there's ballast, there's fuel tanks, there is helicopter tail rotors and blades, and a lot of different wings, missiles, hot air balloons. God, there's yeah, almost an infinite amount of things. It's very cool. Different jet engines, wheels, and also wheels with suspensions. We'll take a look at that in a second. And yeah, I'm very impressed by this. I'm going to load up a vehicle that we've already designed and show you how exactly it works. I think this, yeah, it reminds me a lot like a Kerbal space program, with the fact that there's center of balance and yeah, how you construct these vehicles. So let's load up a vehicle. Now, I'll show you how this works. This is a vehicle that I've made. It's actually one of the standard buggies, but then with suspension wheels, very big wheels. And yeah, a couple of things that are very important. Your vehicle needs to have a couple of different parts to work. Otherwise, you can't control it. First of all, obviously, we need the cockpit. You can see there's the little steering wheel in there. And then you need a couple of petrol tanks. You need engines. You need wheels. And then you're pretty much set. Now, you need to link everything. You can press this little button here to link everything to one seat, so everything can be controlled. You've got a fuel tank here. You've got a couple of fuel tanks. You can select all of them. And you need to connect it. You need to tell it to send fuel to the engines. You can do that by clicking on consumers. And then you can enable different engines, like here. You can tell it you need to send fuel to all of these engines. The same thing goes for the engines. You need to tell them to control the wheels. You can see all the links are set up there. You can enable them, disable them, and make it work like that. You could, for example, put power only on the rear wheels or only on the front wheels, etc. And then obviously you can set, yeah, settings per wheel. You can make them steerable. You can make them left wheels or right wheels to make sure they rotate in the right way. And yeah, you can put different wheels on, like Formula 1 wheels, or you've got the very small dirt wheels, etc. Everything is available. Pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. There's also center of mass, and that's actually a big deal. You can see the little blue dot there. Not so important for a car, maybe if it's a small, low-profile car. But what if you've got a plane? It becomes very important. Let's go and try out some of these designs. I'm going to show you how they work, and yeah, show you why I'm so excited about how it functions. So we are back outside. I'm going to start by spawning our standard buggy here. And this one has actually got suspension, as you can see. Something I pointed out during the demo game. I was a bit disappointed in the fact that there wasn't any suspension. This one has suspension. Now, as much as I think that this game is very cool with the physics, the wheels, everything handles pretty cool, there is still a bit of a weird sliding when you actually stop. You know, it's weird how there's like no grip on your wheels. That surprises me, especially because of something I'm about to show you. These wheels have a shit load of traction, and as a result, it's very prone to tipping over. If I would steer too sharp, I'm going to do that in just a second, it's going to block up the wheel and tip. As you can see. Extremely sensitive. It's, yeah, a little boogie still maybe. I think there needs to be found a balance in between the, yeah, the amount of grip on these vehicles. You see that? It's quite funny in that sense. Alright, but I'll be honest with you. Cars is not why I am excited about this game. I'm not a big car fan, even though you can make really cool constructions with it. I'm obviously more into flying craft. I want to go three-dimensional. So I've built a very cool little thing here that I want to show you. A plane. Freaking awesome, eh? Look at the frame, look at the way the engine is, look at the wings, everything functions. It's very cool. Now you'll notice straight away that the front wheel is in the air. That's because of the center of mass being slightly too far in the back. It's very hard to get the center of mass to move to the front, which surprises me considering the fact that there is a huge heavy engine on the front there. You know, in my opinion, the center of mass should already be more forward to the front, but that makes me think that maybe the weight on these items isn't set yet. But because everything functions so freaking realistic, because the center of mass is just slightly in the back, the plane has a tendency to tip up. You know, the bottom wants to fall down because it's heavier. So as a result, I set an offset on these elevators to make sure that the plane stays into the air and you have a bit of a steady flight. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm extremely enthusiastic about the map because it's not just this dome here, which I initially thought. It's a very big map with yeah, a lot of sightseeing, a lot of cool things to see. Now, something to mention, if you would put one of the wings to the front and the other one to the rear, you're going to get the problem where your plane is constantly tilting left or right. As well, when you have the rear wings a lot higher or lower than the others, it's going to have a lot of issues staying up in the air, or it's going to have too much lift. It's, yeah, very cool to find the balance in there. I'm just going to turn around and go that way. I'm going to show you some of this cool scenery before we show you the rest of these really cool aircraft. You can see there's a bit of clipping there in the cockpit. My head is actually through the bars, but that's not a big deal. You can't see to the front a lot because the engine is in the way there. You know, this is all something that you can work with by yeah, changing your designs and making it work. I'm currently using WASD to fly this craft. I don't know if joystick support is already available, but I'm very excited for that because it handles so super realistic. I'm very excited for yeah, seeing how exactly it's gonna work. I'd like to see some more cockpits. Obviously, there's only a cockpit right now with a steering wheel. Something will yeah, we'll need to get sorted soon and get a joystick cockpit in there. There's a couple of good tutorials out there inside of the game that will help you find out how to exactly construct things to make sure that it's understandable, and because it is a different kind of builder than what I'm used to. You know, it's not like Space Engineer, it's not like regular block building, and yeah, all in all, I think it's a lot more complex, maybe. I like the wind noise. I like how the wind gets quite calm when you're flying straight, but if you steer through a corner, it's going to get a lot louder. As you could hear there, it's pretty cool. This map is actually pretty big. It's got some different kinds of terrain in here, like canyons and large mountains. It's got a volcano in as well somewhere. And yeah, like I mentioned, I think it's pretty impressive. I like making my own designs and then taking them out for a spin and going for, you know, a bit of an exploration. It's pretty damn cool. And again, I'm flying this with WASD, but it feels so realistic the way that you soar through the air. It makes it look and feel very cool. Let's go and take a look at some of the other craft. Let's try and take this thing and put it down. Oh! Okay, we're down. There is no damage in the game yet, which is a good thing. I want to quickly show you something I made that isn't per se something that this game is actually supposed to support. You know, we like to play Space Engineers, so we play with thrusters and rockets and all that sort of stuff. So of course I'm going to make something with rockets and thrusters. What I've actually put these thrusters on different control surfaces like WASD, which you can do by yeah, using the controls properly. And as a result, you get a hovering type of craft. Now, this may look simpler than it actually is. Center of mass is a huge issue here, and as a result, it's constantly tilting forward. I have to press S to tilt backwards, but yeah, it's a very cool little craft. You can see I'm activating the different rocket boosters there to stay in the air. And yeah, it's very imbalanced. Again, not something that this game is supposed to be used for, but all in all, it's pretty impressive though, the way that it works, because you know, this would work in real life the way that it works. So of course it works in this game too. Now if you are very careful with it, you can actually you could actually fly this thing towards another area, but you can see I've put some ballast on the front there, which is actually a little bit too much now because it tilts forward. But all in all, it's a cool little craft, and yeah, I'm well impressed by how even that works. Let's take a look at a chopper that I made. A chopper with water fins in there, like it can go through the water. Something that I'm going to show you in a minute, because it's a good way to test the center of mass and whether it's an issue or not. This thing has got a lot of weight in the back, and you'll notice that straight away when you start flying it. Why? Because it likes flying backwards more than it does like flying forward. Because it's heavier in the back, it tilts backward. I've actually put an offset on the rotor there. You can see that. You can see how it's slightly tilted forward. I've done that to counterbalance the center of mass issue. And yeah, again, it's very hard even to control this. You'll notice straight away that you really need a keyboard control to do this. There's actually the torque issue where the rotor is obviously slightly spinning to one side, making your helicopter twist or roll left or right, yaw left or right, I should say. And yeah, that makes it very hard to control. But all in all, it's very impressive, very cool how this works. And yeah, obviously not okay for the keyboard controls. I'm speeding up here as fast as I can to try and get rid of that torque effect. Obviously you can see we're spinning like crazy because I don't have a finger left to press the yaw buttons. Now I do though, because I'm no longer throttling up. And as you can see, it's yeah, I mean the way that this flies all shaky, I mean this would happen if you put me behind a wheel on a real helicopter. So obviously that's why it happens in this game as well. It is just freakingly realistic. I can't explain to you how realistic it feels. I'm gonna try and put this thing down into the water and probably fail miserably. Oh, yeah, that was very, very likely to happen. I'll show you how this works. I'm going to spawn this thing into the air, and you'll see it's going to tip over. super fast, right? This is something that you saw in From the Depths as well. Very well, yeah, you know, the physics are just spot on. Center of mass is too far in the back, so of course it rolls back. If I would spawn it really low to the ground, you'll see that it stays. But even now you can see it wants to tip backwards. I can actually demonstrate that. I mean, it needs the gentlest nudge to tip over. It is just so heavy in the back, and that makes it very tedious to control. Now, I found that issue to happen as well with a jet. I tried making a jet plane with, you know, I tried it with jet wings first. It wouldn't work. It was just too tedious. And, yeah, it's very hard to get this thing up into the air. I'm going to show you that right now. So this plane has more issues than I can describe, right? I'm having a lot of trouble getting this thing right. And I must admit, that is where the challenge is with this game. This is realistic, scientific issues that engineers will run into when they try and design their own aircraft. Getting the center of mass right, putting the wings in the right position, it's all just very difficult. And yeah, I mean, it's super important to do this stuff right. There's obviously a center of mass issue here as the plane is also falling back, but I've tried putting even the engine and everything in the front, and it's still, yeah, not working very well. This thing spazzes out as soon as you try and take off. It's just crazy. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna try and take off. Probably fail miserably. Now you may think it's alright. It's not that bad. Well, you say that now. As you can see, it's very hard to keep it right. It wants to fall down, so I'm trying to keep it up in the air. But it's hard. It's super hard. But yeah, you got jet engines, so you can make a jet if you get the center of mass right. It does limit design, that's a fact, you know, and it's up to you to consider that either you know, a challenging factor in the game, when you know, like the way it is in real life, or is it an issue where, you know, because you can't make the designs, you don't like it. It's oh my god, that's up to you. Oh my god, stalling. I'm stalling. Yeah, that's up to you to decide. Obviously, it's I think it's a cool challenge. It can be a bit annoying because you can't always make the things that you want to make. I do also believe that there are still some weight issues with different items that, as a result, don't adjust the center of mass accordingly. But hey, early access, and I'm very curious to. God. Okay, bye. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna show you a couple more cutscenes, show you how incredibly cool this game can be when you, yeah, steer this thing through the air, and that's what I'm most excited about. So yeah, make your own opinion on the game. I think it's impressive. I like the vehicle design. I like the way it works. It's different than what I'm used to. I love the challenging factors that you would experience in real life as well. And yeah, all in all, I am extremely impressed and excited about this game. So thanks for watching, and I do challenge you to yeah, try making some vehicles yourself and showing me them. And I'm very curious to see what you can come up with. But thanks for watching, and enjoy these little pieces of scenery video, and I will see you next time for another review.